I'd like to call the first quarter 2026 joint quarterly meeting to order. I guess there's like a couple housekeeping things right now I'd like to bring up. First, that everybody was expecting DEP to be here, but Mr. Bell's had a family emergency and he's unable to attend. Second, I was going to bring up, because I figured DEP was here, but it may be good for future meetings, at least bring to the committee the possibility of not having, Astor and myself not having to read word for word from our reports, since they're all on, everything's online and everybody can see the reports, and it'll help kind of speed the meeting along and get to, people, any questions or issues people might have. So that would be up to the committee members to discuss.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me to expedite it a little bit when the notes are in front of us. How about you, Phil, Matt?
And I believe there's copies up front if anybody needs them. Unless you guys really want to listen to Astor and myself.
I think, well, we're missing another committee member.
Can you put the microphone on?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
We're missing the other committee member today, so.
Hold on.
No, was it Brian?
Well, you gotta
Brian?
call Priscilla anyway.
Yeah, Brian.
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 Yeah, Brian.
So yeah, we are missing somebody right now.
Well, you have a quorum, so you can make a decision about how to do it this meeting, and then you can make a decision how to do it at the next meeting if you want to reconsider.
Respectfully, I don't think you're a member of the committee either. Like, I'm not a member of the committee, as you
I
indicated
can
before.
offer my opinion on something,
And so I offer my opinion as the liaison that I think that it would be helpful to have the fourth committee member here. And I, as a liaison, appreciate hearing the input that's listed verbatim. I think it's helpful for people in the audience who haven't had an opportunity to see it. Much of the information is published the day of the meeting. In addition, there are people on YouTube that haven't had the opportunity to look over it either, and it's helpful to hear it. So that's just my input as a liaison. And I don't believe the host municipal agreement calls for how there is a quorum identified and how they vote. I don't even think there's a voting clause. So that'll get something the committee can address.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess for this time, until we get the other member, we'll just continue as we were on this. We'll go through the reports. And then at least everybody can think about it the next time we meet. And before I forget, I guess the one last thing I'd like to bring up is actually the meeting times, to make sure everybody is aware of what times we should set what times we want to meet. We had been rotating between 5 and 2. I don't know if it got changed this time because of DEP's, that's when they could make it. So it was supposed to be
what works better for you guys?
I mean, for me, coming up with the spring at 2 o'clock is better, but I don't mind doing, I don't mind alternating to try to make it easier for residents to be here.
Same with you?
Meetings, but,
Yeah.
Let's keep it alternating. I'm good with that.
Okay.
5 works better for me, but it's fine.
So, okay, so the next meeting will be at 2 o'clock
Yeah.
then. All right, with that said, then Astor, you just want to go through yours?
Yep.
Just before, as the liaison, and I appreciate that, that we got notified today from the DEP that they were unable to attend. But I would like, just as a standing request from a liaison position, that we ask that perhaps they can attend the next meeting in April, since they weren't able to come today. I'll just leave that out there for the committee to consider.
Yep.
Excuse me, Priscilla's on the line. I don't know if you heard her. She was on, Scott.
Okay. Yeah.
Priscilla,
Yeah.
Can you hear okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear.
All right, so, landfill committee report for Q4 2025. Waste activities, the monthly tonnages. For October, for MSW, we had 21,851 tons. November, we had 12,078 tons. In December, we had 18,234 tons for MSW. C&D, in October, we had 5,543 tons. November, 11,964, and December was 2,488 for C&D. Residual, in October, we had 1,583 tons. In November, 426 tons. In December, 689 tons for residual waste. Sludge, in October, we had 60 tons, which was less than 1% of our incoming waste stream. November, we had 54 tons of sewage sludge that came in. That was less than 1% of our total waste stream. In December, we had 45 tons, which is, again, less than 1% of our total waste stream. For out-of-state waste, in October, we had 13,350 tons, 5% of our total waste stream. November, we had 10,776 tons, which was 43% of our total waste stream. And in December, we had 7,615 tons, which was 35% of our total waste stream for out-of-state waste. For recycling, in October, we received eight people, 75% were Lower Saucon residents. In November, we had 4. 3 of those 4 were Lower Saucon residents. And then in December, we had 6 people that came in for recycling. 5 of those 6 were from Lower Saucon. All our recycling was picked up by Republic. For MU submittals, we had submittal and approval for Atlas Minerals and Chemical, which was plant trash. That was October 2nd. Another one for Atlas Minerals and Chem, Inc., which was asphalt shingles. Specialty powders, plant trash, October 20th. That should be Alpha, plant trash, 10/24. And then RA Energy, spent filters, November 4th. And then Cap Glass, Allentown, plant trash, December 30th, 2025. Annual groundwater trend analysis, our 4th quarter sampling event was December 1st through December 4th. And for correspondence, which is in the packet, is our Q3 groundwater report. For landfill operations, for our DP inspections, October 15th, we had Amy Fouch on site for a random inspection. Also on October 15th, we had, I think it was Mike Colasar with the DEP for vehicle inspections. And then October 28th, we had Matt Gagoski out for engineering inspection. November 17th, Amy Fouch was for a random inspection. And then November 18th, Matt Gagoski was on site for the engineering inspection. 12/18, Amy Fouch was on site again for random inspection with enforcement. And then 12/16, Matt Gagoski was out for engineering inspection. This is a typo. So for the post-municipal inspections, on October 2nd, that should be Jake, was on site. And then October 16th, Scott Brown was on site. November 6th, Scott Brown was on site. November 20th, Scott Brown was on site. December 4th, Scott Brown was on site. And for December 18th, Scott Brown was on site. For the commercial waste vehicles, in October, we had 2,874 trucks. In November, we had 2,593 trucks. And then in December, we had 2,385 trucks. For overweights, in October, we had 44 overweights with 35 warnings and 9 suspensions. In November, we had 29 overweights with 26 warnings and 3 suspensions. And then in December, we had 31 overweights, 28 warnings, and 3 suspensions. During the 4th quarter, there's no slope road, did not need any repairs, nor the swell need repairs. Flare operations and gas collection. Our KS plant is the main gas collection system. It handles all routine and non-routine maintenance to maximize the landfill gas production and minimize odors. October totals. October. Yeah, I didn't.
I don't know what's going on with it. Sorry.
No, you're good. October average flare flow was 3,409 SCFM. October average plant flow was 3,298 SCFM. The total average gas system flow was 3,304 SCFM. The total plant hours for October was 709. The flare downtime hours are 711 because the plant was running, and then the total gas system downtime was 3 hours. November totals, the November average flare flow was 0. The flare didn't run in November. November average plant flow was 3,390 SCFM, which is the same for the gas collection system. Total plant hours was 719 hours, with the flare downtime being 720, and the total gas system downtime was 1 hour. December totals, December average flare flow was 2,914 SCFM. December average plant flow was 3,121 SCFM. Total average gas system flow was 3,117 SCFM. Total plant hours for December was 698 hours. Total flare downtime was 723 hours. And the total gas collection system downtime was 26. For the radiation monitoring, there were 5 radioactive load alarms from October to December 2025. On 10/22, the load was identified as technetium 99. The load was disposed of on site. November 4th, the load was identified as iodine 131, disposed of on site. November 7th, the load was identified as iodine 131. The load was disposed of on site. November 10th, the load was identified as iodine 131. The load was disposed of on site. And then December 24th, 2025, the load was identified as technetium 99, and the load was disposed of on site. All loads are reported to the DP. Northern realignment construction activities, current waste operations are in NR2A. For the odor complaints, those are sent to the township. We get all our odor complaint notifications from Amy and the DEP. The abatement system continues to operate and discharge to the City of Bethlehem wastewater treatment plant. Leachate collection, the leachate management system continues to operate as normal, sending all leachate to Water and Carbon Group PFAS facility and the City of Bethlehem wastewater treatment plant. Both the City of Bethlehem and wastewater treatment, both the City of Bethlehem wastewater treatment plant and Lehigh County Authority completed their annual inspections in November. So for the leachate, so our total leachate that was sent to the PFAS plant of actual leachate was 615,001. The rest of that number, the 1.4, was just basically water from the abatement wells. So the leachate that went to the PFAS plant was 615,000 gallons. For October, for November, the leachate that went to the PFAS plant was 563,785 gallons of leachate in November, and then in December, the total leachate gallons were 869,999 gallons sent to the PFAS plant for discharge. That's my notes.
Pastor, just a question I had. I saw page 3 where it says total flare downtime.
Yeah.
What does it mean when it's down?
This means it's not running, but it doesn't run because the plant's running.
Okay, so like the gas is going and being
Destroyed at the RNG plant, correct?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And then what, I see that you're highlighting that the Bethlehem's wastewater treatment plant did an inspection. What is the significance of Lehigh County Authority doing?
Because that's
it?
our backup. So
This backup, that's
we're
what I thought,
required,
okay.
yeah, to have two
The
options.
secondary, right,
Correct,
okay.
yeah. So they still come out every year and inspect the site, just if there was a need for us to ship
Okay,
leachate to them.
thank you.
Get my mic back.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Okay, host municipal inspector inspection reports, odor observations and nuisances. October 2nd, slight garbage odor was detected along Apple Butter Road at the landfill entrance. before and after the landfill inspection. No odor was detected along Apple Butter Road throughout Steel City and along Riverside Drive after the landfill inspection. No vultures were observed at the working face that day. And there's correction to the next line, no landfill gas odor was detected along, hang on a sec, no, back to, yeah, I got the wrong one crossed out.
You're on 5A, right? 5A1?
Yes. There was no landfill odor detected along Apple Butter Road after the landfill inspection. I get that right, yeah, that's, and then there was a slight landfill gas odor detected along the southern side of cell SE, at the southeast corner. October 16th, 2025, a strong wastewater treatment plant odor was detected along Shimersville Road, south and west of the wastewater treatment plant. No landfill gas odors were detected along Apple Butter Road, through Steel City and along Riverside Drive. No landfill gas odor was detected around the southeast corner of the cell, and there were no vultures observed at the working face. November 6th, 2025, strong wastewater treatment plant odor was detected along Apple Butter Road, south and west of the wastewater treatment plant. Slight landfill gas odor was detected along Apple Butter Road in the area of the self-storage units. No landfill gas odor were detected through Steel City along Riverside Drive or along Apple Butter Road after the landfill inspection. No vultures were observed. Slight landfill gas odor was detected along the southern slope of the SE cells. November 20th, 2025, slight wastewater treatment plant odor was detected along Shimersville Road west of the wastewater treatment plant. No landfill gas odors detected along Apple Butter Road through Steel City and along Riverside Drive. A landfill gas odor was detected along the southern side of the SE cell. No vultures were observed at the working face. December 4th, 2025, a moderate wastewater treatment plant odor was detected northeast of the wastewater treatment plant along Apple Butter Road in the area of the S-turns. No landfill gas odor was detected along Apple Butter Road before or after the landfill inspection. No landfill gas odors were detected along Skyline Drive through Steel City along Riverside Drive. No vultures were observed at the working face. The falconer was present. There was a slight landfill gas odor detected along the southern side of the SE cell. December 18th, prior to the landfill inspection, odor patrol was conducted. A slight wastewater treatment plant odor detected along the northeast of the wastewater treatment plant along Apple Butter Road in the S-turns by the auto shop. No landfill gas odor was detected along Apple Butter Road from the wastewater treatment plant to I-78. No odors were detected along Skyline City, Steel City, and along Riverside Drive and Lower Saucon Road or Apple Butter Road after the landfill inspection. No vultures were observed, and the falconer was present. Status of action items. October 2nd, additional landfill gas wells to be installed in the SE2AB cells. It's to be completed. Installation of the candlestick flare was to be completed. Repair the portable mister in the southeast corner of cell SE1A is to be completed. October 16th, 2025, additional gas wells installed in cell SE2AB to be completed. B, installation of the candlestick flare to be completed. C, repair the portable mister at the southeast corner of SE1A to be completed. And connect the source of the brown liquid to the leachate collection system to be completed. November 6, 2025, additional gas wells to be installed in cell SE2AB to be completed. Installation of the candlestick flare to be completed. Repair of the portable mister at the southeast corner of SE1A to be completed. And connection of the source of the liquid in the leachate collection system, that was to be completed. Clean out the mud grate southwest of the leachate storage tank was to be completed, and remove litter in the trees along the eastern permit boundary to be completed. November 20th, 2025, additional gas wells to be installed in SC2AB to be completed. Installation of the candlestick flare to be completed. Repair of the portable mister at the southeast corner of SC1A to be completed. And connection to the liquid to the leachate collection system to be completed. And cleaning out of the mud grate at southwest of leachate storage tank to be completed. And remove the litter from the trees along the permit boundary to be completed. December 4th, additional gas wells to be installed in cell SC2AB to be completed. Installation of candlestick flare to be completed. Extend the odor vapor system to the east, approximately 200 feet, to eliminate the need for the broken portable mister to be completed. Clean out the mud grate at the southwest corner of the leachate, southwest of the leachate storage tank to be completed, and remove litter along trees eastern permit boundary mostly was completed. There's still some minor amount of litter there. Additional gas wells to be December 18th, additional gas wells to be installed in SC2AB to be completed. Installation of the candlestick flare to be completed. Extension of
That was
just
almost
6A was
completed.
almost completed,
Yeah.
not to be completed.
The first one, yeah. 'Cause we
Oh,
have
sorry.
all the ones
Yes,
we built.
yes. Okay, so yeah, the additional gas wells it's just about completed now. They're actually connecting putting the collection system in right now to connect all the wells together to tie that into the gas collection system. Installation of candlestick flare to be completed. Yeah. And then extend the odor mister system to the east approximately 200 feet to eliminate the need for the broken portable mister. That has been completed. And additional it was approximately about 240 feet that were actually was added to the system. Clean out mud grate located southwest corner of leachate storage tank. That was completed. Remove the litter from the trees along the eastern permit boundary was completed. The SEM reports, September 26, 2025, SCS Field Services SCM report dated September 26, 2025. The field report states SCM was conducted on August 28, 2025. 0 exceedances were detected along the monitoring route, and 5 cap penetrations showing surface emissions above 5 parts per million. Additional cover was added to those 5 areas. 10-day recheck conducted on September 5th, 2025. All points were measured to be below 500 parts per million. A 1-month recheck performed on September 25th, 2025 showed these areas remain under 500 parts per million. November 24th, 2025, SCS Field Services SCM report dated November 24th, 2025. The field report states that the SCM was conducted on October 9th, 2025. 1 capped exceedance was detected along the monitoring route, and 3 capped penetrations showed surface emissions of 500 parts per million background. Additional cover was added. 10-day recheck was conducted on October 16th, 2025, and all points were measured to be below 500 parts per million. 1-month recheck was performed on November 6th, 2025, and showed these areas remain under 500 parts per million. DEP inspection reports, September 16th, 2025. inspection issues. Gas emissions, persistent gas odor along the access road for the SE area. 2, a light persistent landfill gas odor was detected along Ringhoffer Road along Apple Butter Road near the landfill entrance. Bethel Landfill advised DEP that BL detected some leachate odors along Apple Butter Road due to the clean out of the PFAS treatment plant. No vultures were observed flying above the working face. Bethel Landfill has begun to clean out the sedimentation pond number 4. 5, surface emission monitoring in the SE area found 7 readings over 500 parts per million. 6, placement of absorbed material in the SE access road drainage ditch and the investigation of the brown liquid into this ditch. Prompt repair and return to service of odor mister equipment, and resolve violations, February 8th, 2024, violations under 273.201 subsection C and 273.218 subsection B, subsection 2 have been resolved, and those all had to do with daily cover. February 10th, 2025, violations under 273.201 subsection C, 273.218 subsection B, subsection 3, 273.233 subsection C, subsection 1 and 2 have been resolved. That had to do with the daily and intermediate cover. Ongoing violations, fugitive air emissions under section 273.27, subsection A and subsection B. The October 15th, 2025 inspection issues. 1, waste hauler inspections were conducted on 10/15/25 by DEP and the PA State Police. 2, gas emissions, a slight persistent landfill gas odor was detected along Apple Butter Road, 0.7 mile from the landfill entrance. A moderate garbage odor was detected near the working face. A moderate gas odor was detected in the area of the southeast corner. 3, approximately 5 vultures were observed flying over the working face. 4, the second portable emitter is not operable and needs to be replaced. 5, some windblown litter was observed along the access road to the working face and in the area and on the side slopes of cell NR1. Litter pickers were observed at the top of the cell NR1. Minimal litter and flagging observed surrounding some of the gas wells in the area. 6, seeps observed during the 9/16/25 inspection have been repaired, including the one in the drainage ditch along the southeast access road to the southeast cell. 7, ongoing violations, February 8th, 2024, and notice of violation, fugitive air emissions, 273.217 subsection A and B. B, February 8th, 2024, and February 10th, 2024, NOV daily and intermediate cover, under section 273.233, subsection B, 1 and 2. November 17th, 2025, inspection issues. Very slight persistent garbage odor was detected along Apple Butter Road between the storage lockers and the Red Barn Auto. A moderate garbage odor was detected just south of the working face. A strong gas odor was detected in the southeast corner. Due to high winds on Sunday, November 16th, 2025, Bethel Landfill's tarp was blown off the working face. BLC was notified and placed soil cover over the working face on Sunday. Significant windblown litter was observed to the east of the working face at the bottom of the slope of NR1, on the southeast slope, and in the wooded area along the northern access road. Litter pickers were on site. No vultures were observed. Bethel Landfill placed additional cover in the southeast corner where elevated methane levels were detected during the September 16th, 2025 inspection. Some of the archaea, that's the RNG plant, gas pipe markers need to be capped. Bethel Landfill continues to clean the sediment pond number 4. And 8, ongoing violations, February 8th, 2024, NOV, fugitive air emissions, 273.217, subsection A and B. And B, the February 8th, 2024, and the February 10th, 2024, NOV daily and intermediate cover under 273, B1 and subsection B1 and 2. That's it for the DEP inspection reports.
We don't have December's yet, do we?
No.
No.
So, okay, so can we just, I would just ask that the next meeting we could include
Yeah, well,
December.
I'll include that, yes.
Okay.
Let's see, DP. Well, section 7 of the agenda was expecting DEP to be here, so the questions and answers.
They did send some answers.
I didn't,
My understanding is they wanted to be able to provide continued discussion on their answers, but, to the extent that maybe we could just say, we'll invite them next time and we'll provide the answers then. And I would think maybe, if people still have other questions they want to have, we can tell them what the questions we had are, maybe that so far. Astor, did you get to see the questions?
Yeah, I saw them in
Okay.
the responses, yeah.
Okay, so you see, okay. I don't know how you want to handle that, Astor, though.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to invite them for the next one, I'm fine with that. If you're looking for them to elaborate on what he sent.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think for the public's benefit too, would be very helpful for them. I also was hopeful, just in general, they could provide overview of how they interact with the township and the landfill together and their role in overseeing the landfill and how they handle things under the regulations and the permits that have been granted. So I think sometimes there's a lot of misunderstanding with what capabilities people have and what they're doing and what they're not doing and why they're doing things. And I think that would be helpful that people could get that clarification from the DEP directly. So we're not trying to speak on their behalf or something.
I would suggest that when you invite them to the April meeting, that if there are additional questions like that, or if you want them to present that kind of information, you let them know so that they can come prepared.
Oh, absolutely.
all right, so basically we're just gonna
Stacey, can you send just an email out to the committee again to say we're gonna try to reschedule it to April and invite the DEP to attend at that time and invite for questions. That way people and or things they would like to see presented.
And it's April 16th, just for the public.
Yeah, and then I guess based upon what you all were saying, you want 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock would have been
2 o'clock.
normal. Yeah. Well, you're gonna put your question, basically, put a
I'll
little bit more of that,
represent
right?
them in April. That's what I would do.
I meant we let them know ahead of time, like we gave
Yes.
these, so if you wanna get that together, they can get that to Roger.
Right.
That he has,
Right, I mean,
Okay.
these questions,
Yeah.
the questions that were prepared
Mhm.
for this meeting, I would want him to address in
Right,
April. So
right.
Yeah.
if something additional comes up, I
Bob, was
think.
like your question on giving that overview.
Yes,
So like something that
yeah,
he may wanna put something
yes,
together for that.
that's a very good idea. And the other thing I would suggest is there was just a consent agreement issued today, as I understand, with relation to the outstanding violations that were noted in the report. We just received it, but I think it would be helpful, they can cover that topic also, because it's a 26-page consent agreement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, since we did just receive it, is there anything, if you can give some highlights of it, or, if that's, you really even.
I mean,
you know, exactly.
I mean, the high level is it basically is finally, we're closing out all the violations that have been open for a while and gave us some corrective action items, majority of which have already been completed. Like installing the gas wells, doing the capping schedule. I mean, a lot of the violations go all the way back to even when I first moved here, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I would just say there is a whole section that decide, like, they have findings of facts and
Right.
they make determinations of whether there was a violation or not a violation. At least my cursory review of it also indicates, like you said, the corrective action that they're expecting, and then additional oversight and additional requirements that are gonna be required moving forward, and a penalty clause for if there were something in the future. But I think it's like a 26-page consent agreement that we just received today, so we can
Yeah,
have
so
it
we can,
talked about,
we can address it in April when they come.
yeah.
And just so the public understands that that's an agreement between the DEP and the landfill with regard to that. It's not an order.
Right.
Okay, it's my understanding there's nobody from the Archaea here today,
Yeah, I see Daria.
and PFAS plant.
Yeah, they weren't able to
Neither one.
attend. It didn't sound like there was any questions for them either, so.
Okay. All right, any,
Yes, Matt, you have any questions
Yeah,
before we go to the
I
public?
think the only thing I would have with Roger not being here, is there a,
On the north slope, is there a duration for how long you're actually gonna be disposing up there until the wall's built? I think there's been some concerns on the other side.
Yeah, I
But I
mean,
don't know how much, like, what's your total, are you talking 6 months of space left on top of the northern slope? Or are you talking 2 months or
I mean,
3 years?
we're in NR2 right now. We still have NR3 to fill. I mean, we're looking at about 3 years, I think is the space that we have.
Without the wall or with the wall?
Yeah, I mean, it depends probably how things move forward. I mean, I don't know, you wanna address that?
I mean, as of right now, the plan that's been approved by DEP is the northern realignment with that wall.
Marianne,
well,
could you
they-
just come to the microphone or grab a
Sure,
microphone?
here, I can just grab it.
Just push the button for you.
Okay, so the plan that's currently approved by DEP is the northern realignment. The original sequencing of that was modified through a minor permit modification from DEP, so that's the plan that's in place now. Whatever happens in the future, if there are other modifications to the northern realignment plan to change the sequencing or with respect to any future projects, then that's obviously something that would need to be permitted by DEP. But as of right now, if there are no other changes, then the plan that's in place is that we would fill it pursuant to the minor permit modification and complete the construction of that wall in accordance with that schedule.
Yeah, so what is the duration from the time of the minor permit work compared to the wall? Or are you gonna bring them up at the same time?
If nothing, meaning if nothing else were to happen and we were just to finish operations pursuant to the permit that's in place right now?
Without the wall?
Well, that wouldn't happen without the wall. The
Okay.
wall either has to be completed or there needs to be some sort of modification, which we have no idea what the future's gonna be, but right now, the wall would need to be completed based on the permit that's in existence.
Yeah. So it's worst case scenario, 3 years.
Yeah, we have capacity till, with the rate that we're running at right now, we're good till June 28th.
Yeah. June of 2028, with the wall, or without the wall.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would
with the wall.
include, that would include.
Okay.
the-
Wall
Yeah,
built.
that would include the total volume.
And that all assumes rates, right, it depends on what comes in and,
But there is, I believe as part of the permit, there's also a capping schedule and stuff that includes
Correct.
when you should be done and be capped on certain areas of the landfill, from my understanding.
Well, the capping schedule just determines when we gotta cap the areas that we filled to final grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I asked at a previous meeting, and I'll put it in our questions of, is there a definitive amount total, whether it's yards or tons, in the western side that is sitting there that cannot be permanently capped right now? I mean, it's a kind of a loaded question. It's my understanding, the way the landfill sits now, if the rezoning doesn't go through, that there's waste on the western side that is sitting there that cannot be capped properly. Is that correct or wrong?
That's correct.
Okay.
We would have to finish that side.
And remove that waste and put it somewhere else?
Well,
I'm sorry, can you just grab the microphone? I'm sorry.
Just push the button forward.
yeah, as far as the western side,
Yeah.
there was some trash relocation, then we would finish that side, put the grade and then refill it. So, yeah.
But there is waste that would, if the rezoning wouldn't go through on your permit you have now, there would have to be waste removed from the western side and put somewhere else.
Yes, in
Yes.
order to complete the construction
Okay.
and then refill it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is there a tonnage or a yardage? Do you guys know how much is sitting there that would have to be removed, is what I'm getting at?
I believe we know the number.
Yeah,
I don't know it
okay.
offhand, yeah.
That's all I had.
I just want to note, I did receive a number of complaints about what happens on the current active disposal site, you know, during overnight and like weekend hours when you're not in operation. There, you know, I get a lot of pictures of like the trash going beyond or like coming off. And I know we had the one incident with the tarp. I think more recently I got another set of videos about another period of time that you were closed. So I guess the biggest concern, and it's one of the things in the DP we talk about, is like, is there a way to address that so that we could use daily soil cover as opposed to tarping to kind of minimize the amount of windblown litter, since it's so high and on a location that's just susceptible to wind.
Right.
So that's just my ongoing concern on behalf of the complaints I've received.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Roger addressed it in his stuff, but I mean, we are weighing him down with the ADT tires, like the big haul truck tires and some of the wood fence, you know, just to prevent it from blowing over on the high wind days. And then if we know there's gonna be high wind, then we're just using soil, which is what we were already doing. That wasn't forecasted, the winds that we got that blew that over. Because normally if we know there's gonna be bad weather, we just use soil. Like if we know rain's coming, it's, you know, soil.
Does anybody actively go out when there's high wind to confirm the tarp with the, you know, weights on
Well, we know
top?
there's gonna be high, like if there's high winds, like say they were filming tonight and there's high winds, we wouldn't use the tarp. Because it's difficult, it's dangerous for the guys to even use the tarp in high winds.
So then you use soil?
You're correct.
Okay. So I just, on behalf of the complaints I had received, I think that's like one of the major ongoing concerns. And, you know, it's not in the township, but I understand the northern realignment, current active face is very visible to a large section of people traversing Freemansburg Avenue. And I know that there is a lot of sound pollution that's happening on the DNL trail from the active site during the day. And whenever you're in operation, you can hear all of the backup beepers and all of that stuff on the trail. So I don't know how we can address that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a lot of those are from the garbage trucks.
So, but it just goes to, I know that when the Northern Realignment was approved, there was a whole evaluation about what kind of impact that would have on any of the surrounding park, you know, in the DNL trail. And it's of concern because that trail is being impacted by at least the sound of the operations and what occurs there. So hopefully that'll be something we can talk about with the DEP when they come in April.
Okay.
That's all I have. I don't know if Priscilla, if she can hear us, she has a question. I don't know.
I can hear you. You're asking my question, so thank you.
Okay, start with the public. Anybody out there?
Hello, can you
There
hear?
we go.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of concur with what Victoria just said. I was over there at the DNL Trail approximately a week ago, and the wind was coming from the west. And the odors were quite conspicuous, and the sounds were really loud. When the trucks are coming back up the hill after they've dumped, you know, they're in low gear, which is, you know, they're high RPM, so it's quite loud. And you can hear that very distinctly, as well as the backup alarms from the heavy equipment. So I just wanted to mention that. And just have a question, you were discussing the southwestern end of the landfill that's been full for a long time, and there's like these green tarps over it. So are you saying that you can't put dirt and grass on there because at some point you have to reopen it and take some of the garbage out?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, also, the working face, what's the ideal area for the working face? Like to minimize the odors and the litter and everything?
In a perfect world, 100 by 100.
100 feet by 100 feet?
Correct, yeah.
And what's the size of the working face now? I mean, it looks quite large.
I think right now we're about that. When we start at the top, like to get into the cell, we can't just go on the liner with the heavy equipment, so we have to push down so it looks a little larger because you have basically what we call a cattle chute pushing down that slope to create that pad.
Right.
But once you get down to the pad, it's going to be pretty close to those dimensions. Because that's what size of the tarps are too. So generally we just use one tarp.
It's amazing that the trucks aren't getting stuck down there. It's quite a hill. Thank you.
No problem.
Good evening, folks. My name is Jason Bononis. I'm a resident and taxpayer of Lower Saucon Township. I would like to thank the landfill for the $2.5 million of host fees that you provide to this township, which pays about 35% of our budget. A lot of people are ignorant of that fact, and it's a shame because they don't realize how you help to subsidize the community and how you help to keep taxes down to make this an affordable place to live, which has been really difficult under the past several years because of inflation and other mismanagement by this township. I'd like to thank you for being a community partner. I'd like to thank you for coming to these meetings and participating in good faith. I'd like to thank you for the dozens of bikes that you've given to disadvantaged and underprivileged children in the community. I'd like to thank you for the free waste days that you provide to the community so that our residents can take trash from their homes that they otherwise would have sitting in their front yard or in their front porch, like a sofa or other garbage that would make our community a lot more unsightly or dumped on the side of the road. I'd like to thank you for the taxes that your employees pay and that the property pays to the community, to the county, to the state. I'd like to thank you for the jobs that you have, that you employ people that live in the community and around the Lehigh Valley. I'd like to thank you for taking trash from our community for a reasonable price so that we don't have to pay a lot of money for gas and time for people to have to haul that trash to other communities, which is going to clog our roads and cost us more money. You know, we read about these things all the time in the newspaper about communities raising their municipal hauling fees and their taxes on people, and it's because they have to send their trash elsewhere. And I'm thankful that we have a landfill here that keeps those prices down for all of us. I'd like to apologize to Scott Brown. Scott sits here and he reads a report because apparently people are too ignorant or too lazy to read a report, and he has to read it to the public, and that's a shame. It takes up his time. I think it's a shame that you folks have to be here at 5 o'clock on a Thursday night when you could be on your way home or having dinner with your family. I don't know why this meeting was rescheduled from the afternoon until this evening. I think it's more appropriate to have it during your business hours. You're taking time out of your day, out of your work day, and actually out of your family time to be here to respond to this stuff. I'd like to thank you also for your proactive handling. There were some questions about the DEP and some violations that had been lingering, and you were proactive in responding to those issues and addressing those in a responsible way that seems to meet the satisfaction of the DEP. Certainly the DEP wouldn't enter into an agreement with you if that was not the case. They're satisfied with it. You know, and I find it appalling that people will come here and question you and pretend to be experts on a lot of different issues when they don't really know anything about landfills. And they're really just being difficult and a nuisance because they have an agenda. They have an anti-landfill derangement syndrome. And it's unfortunate that they pretend to be experts in certain things. And some people will show up, some people prefer to participate by phone and not be here. You know, they won't be here, but they expect you to be here. That's remarkable to me. You know, it's really, really, really genuine. It's really responsible of a person not to be here, but to be participating by phone and making you folks show up in person. But thank you for being proactive in responding to that. And I thank you for allowing the DEP to do their jobs. The DEP is the Department of Environmental Protection that operates on behalf of all the residents of this Commonwealth to keep us safe from an environmental standpoint. And I would trust them over some of the people that question you and criticize you. You know, one thing I see on this agenda, I question, why is there never any agenda item or discussion of the illegal activities that were undertaken by this township with regard to the landfill? There was a position that was taken by the township that was never put on an agenda, never discussed, never voted upon. And I think that's unfortunate. I don't know if the DEP, I was hoping the DEP person would be here because I wanted to tell him that whatever he hears from this township should be taken with great skepticism because this township has no credibility in how it deals with the landfill. And that's a perfect example of it. You know, that's a perfect example of violating the laws because there's a personal agenda that's at issue here. And the DEP, I think, needs to hear that. And I look forward to talking with them in April when they do come. I think they also have to hear about the conflicts of interest that exist here with certain members of this council and how they have conflicts of interest with regard to the actions that were taken here by the township. I'd like to thank the landfill for I heard Scott mention something about the vultures. There were 6 vultures that were seen. I'm glad to hear that because this township has taken a position that violates federal law, which is to not harm and not try to eradicate or force out vultures because they serve a purpose to our community, and that purpose is to eliminate carrion so that diseases aren't spread throughout the community. So I'm glad to hear the vultures are there. And I saw, Scott, in your reporter, in one of the reports, there was a reference to WWTP. Is that wastewater treatment plant?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's just so I'm clear on this and so the public is clear. When it says WWTP, that means that those are odors that are coming from the City of Bethlehem sewage treatment plant, correct?
Correct.
All right, so sewage odors are entirely different than landfill odors, and a lot of these reports are replete with examples of odors, both minor odors and more significant odors coming from the wastewater treatment plant, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, and if I recall historically, there was somebody that filed a lawsuit against the landfill in federal court, and that lawsuit was making allegations of odors or malodors, and it was found out after going up on appeal to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, went back down to the federal court, that those odors that they were complaining about were not landfill odors, but were in fact wastewater treatment plant odors, and at that point the lawsuit was dismissed. So there's all this talk about odors all the time, and there are trash trains that go through Steel City and other things. I think people need to pay attention to keep their apples and oranges straight so they know what they're talking about. And I think the public needs to pay attention to that too. I also, lastly, I look forward to the Superior Court reversing the order that came in for the Court of Common Pleas and allowing the landfill's expansion to occur, because that expansion will result in about $4.5 million a year, not $2.5 million, but $4.5 million a year for 18 years, which this township desperately needs. This township is caught up in all sorts of litigation because of a lot of bad things that are happening. And I mean, I don't want that money going to pay for settlements because people make stupid decisions and illegal decisions. I want that money to go into the township coffers to pay for things like the police force and crime dogs and paved roads and supporting fire services and paying our workers who are here after hours a living wage. So with all that, thank you again for all that you do.
Hi, I'm Tina Bartley. I'm a resident of Bethlehem Township, and I pay my taxes there. But yet I am being daily affected by the landfill in Lower Saucon. So opposite of what he's saying, thank you for trying to keep the landfill in check, but it is seemingly impossible with the high winds, the 725-foot mound of garbage, and the continued mounds that are continuing east. I do watch it daily, and it is disruptive. It's loud, it's smelly. I know it's coming from the landfill because I'm exactly 1 mile from the landfill. So I've seen a lot of changes in 2 years that I've been there, and it's pretty sad because I spent a lot of money on a beautiful home, and the sites are pretty awful. I get in touch with Astor, and I do appreciate him. He's been helpful, and he's trying his best. He's doing, it's a landfill, he's trying to do what he can. But the bottom line is, it's really, really in a terrible position. And I'm really shocked and surprised DEP ever, I'm not an expert, but I think you don't have to be an expert to see that a landfill should not go 725 feet up in the air and expect that garbage is going to stay there and not fall down to the bottom. I hate talking in front of you guys, but I feel like I have to. I see you're working in cell 2, but I also think you're moving over to cell 3, which then the entire mountainside is full of garbage. And I've contacted you this 2 weeks ago, and it's been bad for 2 weeks. There's garbage everywhere. It's here, it's there, it's every freaking where. The entire side of the mountain looks like crap. And I know it's not your fault. I know it's the wind, and I know you're trying to put the soil down, but bottom line is, you all say that this is a landfill that takes garbage from us, but I don't think in 1940 we were planning on having a 700-foot, mound of garbage. It was just for the locals, and now with 45, 35, whatever it is, % of the out-of-state garbage, this is in my backyard, and I would pay to not have you guys there. I would pay more to send my garbage away. I would pay more taxes to not have to look and smell and see this landfill. And I know it's not your fault, and I do appreciate, what you're trying to do. But opposite of what he's saying, there's no money in the world that will make me feel better about the environmental destruction that's happening and what it's doing to my daily living, literally every single day of my life. I have to look at this, and it's pretty horrendous. So you could say all you want. It's good for taxes, it's good for, Saucon, Lower Saucon, but it's on the north side, and it's affecting me, and it's affecting my township, and I feel like we have been pushed aside, and we should have been alerted a little bit more. Not just a letter that says, hey, we have this thought that we're gonna do this, realignment, but maybe explain, because I don't think anybody really knew how bad it was gonna be, because when you look on paper, it's like, oh, there's a little cell here, a little cell here, but when you come to my development and you see what's happening, it's an atrocity. It's just, it's horrendous. And the vultures are, I understand that they do a great job for the environment, but there probably are an abundance of them. They do come on my side every once in a while. It's fine, whatever. I personally think it's in the worst place it could possibly be. I read that what is a landfill, and if you read like the first paragraph, it actually says, it should be in areas that are environmentally blah, blah, blah. Like, it tells you what is a landfill and where it should be, and it never says it should be on the top of a mountain with a river underneath and people living like a half a mile to a mile away. So I am affected. I want you to know. I would appreciate if you could, really try to clean it up. I think you're spreading too far. I think the 100 by 100, I have no clue from my distance, but it feels like it's bigger than that. I feel like you're working in cell 3. Are you?
No, because it's not constructed yet.
Okay, so that whole thing is 2?
Yes.
Horrible. Okay, it's horrendous. It's a huge space, and I feel like if you maybe work in a smaller space, it wouldn't be so out of control. And like I said before, on a Saturday morning, just a thought, instead of collecting garbage, maybe you can do some maintenance. I said that to you kind of kiddingly, but in all seriousness, you need a lot more time to maintain because it gets dark at 4:30. I see you up there with your lights on. You're gone by 5:30. You can't really clean up in 1 hour. It seems difficult. So like Saturday mornings, just like maintain, you know, put soil down, just get the guys out there, pick up the litter, make it look better because everybody's looking at it. The entire Lehigh Valley on my side can see what's happening. And it's pretty bad. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Mark Ozimek, and I am also a Lower Saucon Township taxpayer, and I'm cheap, so I pay them early. That way the government gets their interest out of it. I would like to address the public watching, or who will watch in the future after it's converted, that the reason the township is in the lawsuits that it is in is first off from the city of Bethlehem and the mayor, who sold the acreage to the landfill for $10,000, if I'm not mistaken. The second reason we are in this position of lawsuits is because of Jason Bananas, who sitting in the office and spoke before, and his crew of cronies wrote a blank check to the landfill and said, here you go, do whatever you want, take the expansion, do whatever you want. As a matter of fact, he wanted to turn the entire east side of the township all the way down to Route 33 and 78 into a landfill, for those of you that aren't aware of it. But I got it at home on film. So that's part of the problem. That's where all the money comes from. So you could blame Jason Bananas and the city of Bethlehem for the position that we're in. The landfill's a business. The landfill wants to keep operating. But you know what? When I was a teenager, I put a liner in that landfill. Long time ago. I remember when that landfill was flat. And it was supposed to close 20 years ago. And you know what? If everybody held up their own end of the bargain, it should have and it would have. But it didn't. So now people like us gotta live with it and put up with it. I noticed in this report, there's no list of calls for odor complaints. I don't know why. I don't know if he quit doing it or if that was just a last council thing. But I call when I get a smell, and when we go out to take care of the chickens in the morning or take the dog out, I look at my wife and I ask her, is that the landfill I smell? She says, yep. Sometimes I call, sometimes I don't. I sit on my front porch, drink a beer, and I hear all the equipment running over there. And I understand equipment. I worked on a lot of it. Matter of fact, I used to fix some landfill equipment at one point in my life. So I get all that. I also view Facebook pictures. Thank you. And the side of the mountain is atrocious. It really is. Comes out of the trucks, goes down the mountain. I don't know how you go up and down there to cover it with dirt or liners, but it needs to be, you need to be better stewards of your job. Whether you do it or you have somebody else do it. I don't know who runs the machines. I don't know who runs the dump trucks, but it needs to be repaired. Hopefully, I hate to see anybody losing their job. I lost my job from businesses shutting down. But there comes a point in time where things need to be shut down. And part of this problem is, with shutting it down, is the DEP, because they don't want to open a new landfill somewhere else. The other part of the problem comes from the federal government itself. I'm speaking, shut up. Shut.
Mr. Osmek, with all due respect, you can make these public
I,
comments at a township meeting.
as a committee member, I disagree with that. Bonona's just got up here and talked about all other kinds of things, so he could say whatever the hell he wants. He didn't have a time limit, he don't have a time limit.
So the federal government is part of the problem as far as interstate commerce goes. The problem with states and the federal government is it would be really nice, and I know New York has land because I know people live in New York and I go visit it. You know, if people were made to take care of their own trash, keep it in their own backyard and their own state and their own county, we also wouldn't be putting up with this problem. We would have the city of Bethlehem landfill taking city of Bethlehem garbage in local areas, just like it did when I put the liners in. So everybody could sit here and complain, but the first thing you got to do is kick the shit out of the federal government and make them change their laws. Because there's other issues going on besides just landfills that they don't even have ideas on yet. What else you want me to complain about? I want you to do a better job. After I don't call you and tell you when it stinks and smells, you got work to do, I don't want to bother you. I know we had the discussion and you wanted me to call you. I don't. I just reported to DEP and hang up. Because you know what, frankly, sometimes I get on the phone with her and that girl don't stop. She just keeps on yapping away. Last couple times she hasn't answered the phone, I leave a message. Whether they're actually recording them or not, I don't know. But I do know there's a problem. And as far as society goes, society in itself needs to find a way to fix it. Every bit of it. Quit creating so much damn trash. Eat the food that's on your plate instead of chucking it out in the garbage. Count your blessings that God has given to this good earth instead of trying to find ways to destroy it. Have a nice night.
Anybody else?
I'm going to make a suggestion that the committee consider, just for purposes of keeping these meetings on point and efficient, to consider a time limit on public comments.
Anne Marie Slavic. I live in Lower Saucon Township, and so this is my first landfill meeting I've attended, and I agree with some people and I disagree with some people. I'm not going to take up too much time, but I just want to say I did notice in one of these reports that the salt from the putting it in on the road, salting the road is definitely affecting the water chemicals. So I don't know if anybody mentioned that, but I did notice that was mentioned. So I just want to say that. And I don't know how it couldn't. I don't know how putting all the salt on the road couldn't affect the water. So it's not just the landfill that's affecting the environment. There are other, Bethlehem Steel that was there for a long time operating before regulations were put in place have also affected that land that no one wants to talk about. I will say one thing that, just for the record, you know, Bethlehem Township, if I was looking for a place to live, I wouldn't pick that place. And here's why. The traffic, the development, the development, the development, the malls, the malls, the malls, the gigantic Anderson campus that's being built over there. There's no land over there. Nothing. There's nothing left over there. It's nothing but traffic and crazy drivers and development. So I understand that everybody has a problem with the landfill. I do understand that people don't want to make garbage. I understand that people want to cut down for environmental purposes, and that's the trend of the nation. It's the trend. Don't make garbage, cut down on the garbage. But, you know, that's really impossible. The other thing that's at play here are the regulations or lack thereof regulations by the federal government. And I hate to tell all of you people who are anti-landfill, but the federal government isn't going to help you out with building a landfill elsewhere. It's not going to happen. They can't do anything. You can't build any factories. You can't build oil refineries. You can't build anything. So that's not going to happen. So if there's a landfill in place, they're going to try their best to try to keep it and expand it. The other issue is I want to thank the landfill. I agree that they provide money to our budget that no other municipality in the Lehigh Valley has. When people are up here questioning that, they say, well, other places have raised taxes and other places function without a landfill, and that's true, but we have the benefit of the landfill, and that's a fact. Everybody wants to talk about affordability these days, but they want to close a landfill that's providing us 25% of our budget or 33% of our budget. We have garbage increases in the city of Bethlehem a few years ago that people were complaining about. Water increases, sewer fee increases, tax increases. Food is expensive, and fuel changes to our standards of using fuel in the last 5 years, which has increased all prices. So again, you complain about, you want affordability now and you want more apartments being built in Lower Saucon, which I know is going to be a goal for Victoria and the people that are on this council, because it's been spoken and it's actually written in some of the items from their council meetings. But we have a landfill that provides us income, revenue, and also perks into other things like what Jason Bononis was talking about. I also want to say, too, on the side, that Hawk Mountain is a group that is very pro-vulture. They have an adoptive vulture program. They have a lot of information on their website, and part of the environmental system, vultures are a very part of that. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. Not that I think that we shouldn't manage the landfill well, and some of the things that are brought up that maybe should be addressed by the management of the landfill, covering it or doing whatever. But I also think that we have to take a step back. And if we're on the DNL trail and we hear some noise from whether it's a manufacturing plant, whether it's industry, we have to understand that we live in a world that is a world of business, a world of industrial. It doesn't even make sense to complain that I hear a truck while I'm walking on the DNL trail. It absolutely doesn't make sense whatsoever. I walk on the Lehigh Parkway trail all the time where there's a creek where it's stocked for fishermen to fish on. And I've been there many, many times in the summer where there are beer bottles thrown all over the place. There are people smoking hookah, sitting on the creek, drinking beer, smoking pot, playing loud music like I'm in a dance club, and kids screaming and jumping in the creek. And that's for fishing. That's for people to go fishing. So I'm supposed to be on a trail, a peaceful trail in nature, which I guess these people are trying to say they're on the DNL trail. It should be peaceful. Well, we also have to share the earth with industry. That is what we have to do. We cannot live in a world where there's no industry, where there are no trucks, where there's no noise and no smells. It's a landfill, and we have it. And it's going to smell sometimes. Garbage does. The garbage in your garbage can outside smells as well. So I think we all need to get a grip on reality. Thank you so much.
I respect you guys for working hard. I think I met you the other day, right? Okay. All I want to say is that we talked about how we're going to live this life and how we're going to respect what we do, other people, how they use property, how they use land. Yes, it's okay to have forward businesses. It's okay to try to turn a profit. But the bottom line is we only have one earth. One. This is our shot to live here. Once each one of us are gone, we don't get to do it again. So in my opinion, because I do have to live with it, I have to look at it. I have to look at it every day. I've invited people to come to the field and sit there and take a look at what it looks like. It's growing rapidly. It's already there. You can't help that. but you could become better stewards if you can. If you worked in smaller areas and did more cover, it would at least help block the view a little bit. At this point, that landfill is growing to the point, no matter where you are, it's vast. The reason there are some of us that are trying to stop the expansion is because if it were to continue, the whole mountainside is going to look like a trash mound. And I'm sorry, I will not apologize for that. I will not apologize at trying to take away the air, to take away the beauty, to take away the forest, to take away the places for the animals. Vultures are overhead all the time. That's the way it's going to be. Now, if there's 6, if there's 10, if there's 20, it really doesn't affect much. If there's 50, and we have pictures of 40 and 50 sitting on buildings, there are times I am not complaining about the vultures because they're creatures too, T-O-O. But there are times there are 15 or 20 sitting on my barn roof. I'm sorry, that's a little creepy. Now, a lot of times, if I were to take a gun and shoot it in the air, they're gonna leave, they're gonna go away, they're gonna go someplace else. That's okay. I'm not trying to do noise pollution. Yes, the trucks are loud. Yes, it's allowed. It's a business, okay? But you have to remember that where you're located, it echoes off the mountain. So more people hear it because of its location. More people are upset about the landfill because of its location. They're not mad that you have a landfill. We're mad because of where it is. And the fact that it's on a steep slope, and the fact that there's water underneath, and that water feeds to another river, and that goes to a bigger river, and that goes all the way to the city, to Philadelphia. So I'm not going to apologize for those of us that are trying to slow it down. Okay? Now, you guys really are working hard, so I don't take that away from you. And it's not a personal thing. It's a group thing. The company that owns it isn't here. And most of the trash that's coming in is not our neighborhood trash. So saying that is a crock of crap. All I want to say is understand both sides and don't degrade each other. Thank you.
I have one question in reference to other comments. And I hate to take a second step here. When Mr. Bonona spoke, he said we got $2.25 million a year from the landfill funds. Fine and dandy. And then he said if the expansion comes in, we'll get $4 million. I don't think that's the way that plan is written. But the point I want to make is, where do I get the financials from the head company? They got a landfill in virtually every state, I believe, sometimes 2 landfills in every state. So my question is, how much do they make? How much does the Bethlehem landfill actually make? And how much is $2 million out of the landfill's pocket? Is it 1%, 2%? That's my question.
You're getting way beyond this meeting here.
I didn't start it.
Anybody else in the audience?
The complaint sheet, she's right, there used to be like a list of all the names.
Yeah, it's too hard to read, so, I mean, it gets emailed out to the township, I think they put it on their website. Yeah, because they put the whole year on there, yeah. So it was worthless to print it out on the thing, because you can't, it's not even legible, so. But I'm pretty sure you guys posted on the township page, right?
I post it afterwards as part of the packet. I don't do it before. So the ones, we don't print it because it's too small.
Yeah.
The way it comes through.
Yeah, we used to, but it was, even Priscilla complained it was just not legible, yeah.
You just, from the township's perspective, like usually like in January, they start collecting them. And then as the year goes on, they just compile them. And so they shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. So by the time you get to December, it shows the whole year versus January's just, or like the first quarter is just the first 3 months. But I think it is helpful to post them as we get them so that they're still available for people who want to make sure. Because I think people want to, I get the impression that people want to confirm that if they were on that list, that they show up on the list. I don't know. So if we can, let's post it. I mean, there, on the computer, you can enlarge it, so you can manipulate it on PDF or whatever.
Okay, I guess, we'll wrap the meeting up by one more, announcement. I'm stepping back. I've had Hanover with work, and Jake Schragg's out in the audience as a host municipal inspector.
Oh.
He'll be sitting up here.
So the whole discussion, he's getting his.
So
Okay.
I'll be there for the history and when Jake can't make it, but he'll be taking a more active role from this point on.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Scott, for all that you've done since the time that I've been here. I appreciate all the work that you put into this, and I can appreciate the time in reading it. I still, you know, just respectfully my opinion, but I do want to thank you though, and thank you for bringing on a new person and mentoring them.
Okay. With that, I guess we can adjourn.